This fight by knockout, you would think I'm absolutely crazy, right? But the thing is, it can happen. 10-ounce gloves, heavyweight, Jake Paul can punch hard.
Hasn't made too many mistakes so far. So it got my attention. It got Teddy's attention. He's been growing. He's been growing in the ring. He's been growing outside the ring.
Jake Paul has entered training camp with full focus for his upcoming fight against Anthony Joshua. During sparring sessions, he delivered a knockout against heavyweight Greg Hardy, drawing attention to his growing power. Coach Larry Wade explained that Jake has been sparring consistently, not just participating, but dominating every session. He added that Jake's training partners aren't just any big men. They include champion-level heavyweights who push and perform at the highest level.
Dominated from day one with heavyweights, and I don't mean just random heavyweights. I mean heavyweights that are ranked in the top 25, if not top 15 in the world.
Footage and reports show Jake sparring with top-tier heavyweights. In comparison, Anthony Joshua's previous opponents, like Alexander Usyk, were elite fighters who tested his skills at the highest level. Jake's high-level sparring is designed to replicate that kind of challenge, helping him sharpen his timing, power, and confidence before stepping into the ring.
Being dwarfed by these way bigger heavyweights like Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, and Lawrence Okolie. Okolie is like 6'4.5", 6'5", and these guys are like 6'3", 6'4", probably. So now Jake Paul is the one that's smaller. So first of all, I will give credit to Jake Paul. Clearly, he's a person who is taking his career seriously. These are quality sparring. I mean, a real boxer, because people say he's not a real boxer, but a real boxer would be using the same guys in their sparring camp. In fact, I just told you Joshua used Lawrence Okolie. I don't know if he sparred with Anderson or Frank Sanchez, but these are all regular ranked heavyweights. So credit to Jake Paul for that. And I mean, he's going to need it. Joshua is a different breed to, like, you know, a Mike Perry when it comes to boxing. Different frame, different size. In case you didn't believe me, right? Jake Paul, this is what MVP Promotions posted. So Jake Paul top sparring, right? Heavyweights. And here's some pictures of Joshua with Lawrence Okolie. And again, Joshua, a big dude, but you see Lawrence Okolie, and he probably was cruiserweight back then. I mean, I don't know exactly when this picture was taken, but he's only like an inch shorter than Anthony Joshua. And now, as he's moved up to the full heavyweight, he has filled out more. You see, he looks even bigger than when he was a cruiserweight. Now, I got to research it, but I want to say I thought Lawrence Okolie was injured, but again,
while the knockout during sparring created excitement, it also sparked debate online. Many questioned whether the moment truly reflected Jake Paul's power. On X, a user named Tammy claimed that the knockout was staged, suggesting the fighter took a check to fake a fall. Another user, Tun Marino, commented, "Is that Greg Hardy? If so, that explains it. Dude's got a magnet for a chin," highlighting perceived toughness of the opponent. Fans argued over whether the knockdown was genuine or staged, analyzing everything from Jake's technique to his opponent's durability. Veteran boxing observer Tony Jeff noted Jake's remarkable improvement over the years, acknowledging that he has developed considerable skill. However, Jeff warned that facing a world-class heavyweight like Anthony Joshua is a challenge far beyond anything Jake has experienced, both technically and physically, emphasizing the difficulty of matching up with seasoned champion.
Over time, a lot of heavyweights seem to prime as they get older. Now, a problem for Anthony Joshua is his activity. He's only fought twice in 2 years, and one of them, he got knocked out off Daniel Dubois. That was his last fight, and a lot of people say you can only judge a fighter's quality from their last fight. And then the fight before that was a win, but it was a win against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, if you know, he was the UFC heavyweight who's not a real boxer, and he only had one fight before that boxing fight. what he lost as well. So that's his activity in boxing. Now, Jake Paul, on the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023. And one of them was against Mike Tyson. But we all seen what happened in that fight. Mike Tyson was well past his prime. Where Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, is, but I'm not going to say he's coming into his prime, because he had some great wins earlier on in his career before he lost to Usyk twice. And by the way, when he did lose to Usyk, the last one was a split decision. It was a pretty close fight. So now this fight is matched, and I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now, looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pounds versus 252 pounds. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had 1, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua, because he's just going to...
Renowned trainer Teddy Atlas commented on Jake Paul's mindset ahead of the Joshua fight. Atlas praised Jake's self-confidence and willingness to take such a high-profile step, viewing it as a serious effort to advance his skills, rather than harming the sport. Atlas believes Jake is bringing creativity and attention to boxing, potentially attracting new audiences. He respects Jake's approach, noting that by stepping up against a legitimate heavyweight, Paul is demonstrating ambition and a genuine desire to grow as a boxer.
It got my attention. It got Teddy's attention. He's been growing. He's been growing in the ring. He's been growing outside the ring. He's been growing in confidence. I think that in the Canelo situation, that didn't happen. He was ready to do that. I think if anything else, if nothing else, he's showing you that he truly is believing in himself. And that, you know, he's been a work in progress. He still is. And he's showing you, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Everyone's calling for him to do this, to do that. And, you know, he's always had the advantage with guys that weren't real fighters. They were fighters, they were older fighters, they were MMA fighters, they were this, they were that. They were smaller, they were older. Now he's taking a guy that's bigger, older, but bigger. A real, can't debate if he's a fighter. 2-time heavyweight champ. Coming off, but he's a smart son of a gun. He's a gutsy son of a... I always stood up for him because everyone was saying he was hurting the sport. He wasn't hurting the sport. In some ways, he was bringing interest in a different way to the sport. But he built something. He was smart. He built something that was creative. That took a mind. It took.
Boxing commentator Pat Brown offered a sobering perspective on Jake Paul's upcoming fight. Brown stressed that this matchup is unlike anything Jake has faced before, describing it as a pain business, where the physical and mental demands of fighting a top-tier heavyweight become evident. He noted that previous opponents may not have presented the same level of intensity or skill, and Joshua's experience will require an exceptional degree of preparation and resilience. Brown emphasized that this is not just a media-driven spectacle. It's a serious contest against a fighter who has built his career competing at the elite level.